The signal. The deep silence of space stretched endlessly around the outpost of Valoran Station, a lonely speck orbiting a dying red star. For months, nothing unusual had happened there. Just the same routine scans, the same tired reports, the same tired crew waiting for their next rotation. Then one night the silence was broken. Technician Mara Voss was half asleep at her console when the monitors flickered. A faint rhythmic pulse appeared on the radar, soft but steady, repeating every 7 seconds. She rubbed her eyes, thinking it was a glitch. But the signal persisted. It wasn't random static. It had structure, a pattern, and most importantly, it carried emotion, desperation. She straightened in her chair, her heart beating faster. "Control, this is Voss at Station 12. I'm detecting an incoming transmission," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Coordinates locked. Signal origin unknown. Within seconds, the command room filled with officers, screens flashing as they amplified the signal. Lines of code and sound waves spilled across the displays. Someone enhanced the frequency, and a message came through. The voice was distorted, filled with panic. "Please, anyone, this is the Corathan fleet. We are under attack. Repeat, under attack. We cannot..." The transmission ended in static. The room froze. Everyone stared at each other. The Corathans were one of the oldest allied species. Peaceful and advanced, respected across the galaxy. If they were calling for help, it meant something terrifying had happened. Captain Drain stepped forward, his face pale. "Where is it coming from?" He asked. "Outer Rim Sector 8G, Mara replied quickly. "Deep beyond the trade routes near the Black Zone." Drain's expression hardened. "No one goes there anymore," he muttered. The Black Zone was a scar in the galaxy, an area marked by old war records. The territory once belonging to the Deathworlders. The name itself brought a chill to every being in the room. Deathworlders were legends, creatures from a world so hostile that even their wildlife could kill starship soldiers, a species that had vanished after the Great Purge centuries ago. Some said they were wiped out, others whispered they had chosen isolation, hiding somewhere beyond the known stars. But one thing was clear. No one had heard from them in generations until now. Could it be them? A young officer asked quietly, "Could the Deathworlders be back?" "Don't be ridiculous," another snapped. "Humans are extinct, everyone knows that." Yet, as they replayed the broken signal, something strange happened in the static. Layered beneath the Corathan distress call, a faint sound echoed, like a human voice, low and distorted, almost whispering. "Hold the line." Mara felt a chill race down her spine. She replayed the last 2 seconds, isolating the frequency. The same phrase repeated. "Hold the line." Captain Drain's gaze turned to her. "Record everything, lock it down, and send to Galactic Command immediately." Within an hour, the signal reached the Council of Civilized Worlds. Dozens of alien diplomats gathered in panic. Each species whispered theories. Pirates, rogue AI, lost fleets. But no one wanted to believe the truth forming in their minds. Meanwhile, far away in a forgotten part of the Milky Way, a planet hidden by debris and radiation stirred. Deep underground, sensors long dormant began to hum with power. Massive metal vaults opened slowly, revealing human warships preserved in silence. Engines glowed faintly as automated systems woke up. Recognizing the old code, SOS from Allied fleet detected. Inside one of the ships, AI cores reactivated after centuries of sleep. "Command protocol online," a voice announced inside the darkness. Earth Defense Network awakened. For the first time in 200 years, humanity's silent guardians began to stir. Deathworlders, the beings once feared and erased from galactic memory, were waking up. Back on Valoran Station, Mara couldn't sleep. She kept staring at the faint light on her console, the repeating pulse that had started it all. The message kept echoing in her head. "Please, anyone, we are under attack," followed by that ghostly whisper. "Hold the line." She didn't know what it meant, but deep inside, she felt something ancient moving in the dark corners of space. Something powerful and angry. She whispered to herself, "Whoever they are." They heard it. Far across the void, engines ignited, black ships breaking the silence of forgotten space. Their insignia, the old Terran mark of the Deathworlders, glowed once again. The galaxy had forgotten humanity. But humanity had not forgotten the galaxy, and this time, the call for help had reached the wrong species. The awakening deep beneath the iron crust of Erebos 9, The ancient vaults of the Deathworlders trembled to life. Dust fell from ceilings older than any alien civilization still standing. Inside the core chamber, rows of black-armored war machines stood silent, frozen in time, waiting. Then one by one, their systems lit up, red sensors flickering like waking eyes. A voice echoed across the underground facility. Cold and precise. Command node active, signal origin confirmed. Corithan distress beacon authenticated. The voice belonged to Aura 7, one of the last surviving human war AIs, built during the Great Extinction Wars. For centuries it had waited in silence, guarding the sleepers, maintaining the fleet in stasis across the chamber. A stasis pod hissed open, steam rolled out, revealing a tall human figure in dark exo-armor. His name was Commander Rian Vale, the last surviving Deathworlder admiral. He took his first breath in 200 years, eyes adjusting to the dim red light. "Status report," he said calmly, his voice rough, deep from disuse. "Fleet integrity at 72%. Biological personnel, minimal. Surviving humans, 3,210. Aura 7 replied. "Mission priority update. Allied distress signal detected. Probable extinction event in progress." Rian's jaw tightened. "After all this time, someone still calls for help," he murmured. His eyes narrowed as the memory of the Corithans came back to him. The first species that had welcomed humans into the galactic fold before betrayal and war had erased their name from the stars. He turned toward the dark wall where a holographic galaxy map shimmered to life. Red zones flickered, showing countless alien territories. But one pulsed brighter. "The source of the SOS, prepare the fleet," he ordered. "We answer the call." Massive hangar doors opened above the planet's crust. The Deathworlder fleet rose slowly from its long tomb, hundreds of black ships gleaming in the dying light. Their hulls bore scars of old battles, each one a silent monument of fury and resilience. Engines roared to life, shaking the dust of centuries in orbit. The AI activated ancient beacons, sending encrypted messages through the void. Deathworlder command online, responding to distress beacon. Back on Valoran Station, chaos had erupted. The Galactic Council had declared the signal under quarantine, forbidding anyone from investigating. But rumors spread fast. Some claimed it was a trap. Others whispered that something human had answered. Maravos watched the transmission feeds nervously. Every time the static cleared, she caught glimpses of strange energy bursts far beyond the outer rim. "It's like a storm," she whispered, "but it's moving with purpose." Captain Drain frowned at the data logs. "That's not natural formation, that's an organized fleet signature." "Whose?" Mara asked, but he didn't answer because deep down Drain knew. No known species used that kind of power pattern. No known ship used such frequencies. It was human technology, old, raw, and terrifyingly efficient. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, voices shouted over one another. "We cannot allow this to spread," barked one ambassador. "If they truly are Deathworlders, we must stop them before they awaken fully. But they're responding to a distress call," another argued. "This could be a chance to rebuild alliance. A third hissed, "You've forgotten what they were. Monsters warborn, bred for survival on a planet that kills everything weaker. If they return, we all burn." The room erupted into chaos. While somewhere in the outer darkness humanity moved without hesitation, Commander Vale stood before his bridge crew. Human survivors, now older, scarred, yet unwavering. 2 centuries of silence, he said, and still the galaxy cries for help. They buried us in myth, erased our name. But we remember. He looked at the hologram of the dying Corithan fleet. Surrounded by unknown enemy vessels. "Set course for Sector 8G. Prepare strike groups 1 through 5. Aura 7's voice hummed through the bridge. Course plotted, weapons online, stealth systems engaged. Vale stared into the stars, his reflection shining on the glass. "If they came for our allies," he said softly, "they'll learn again what fear means outside." The Deathworlder fleet vanished into the void. Cloaked and silent, faster than light, stronger than myth. Humanity's wrath had begun to stir, and somewhere on the edge of the galaxy, the creatures that had attacked the Corithans laughed in victory. Unaware that their triumph had sent a signal into the most dangerous graveyard in history, the Deathworlders were awake and they were coming. The first contact, the void was quiet again, silent except for the faint hum of engines older than most civilizations. The Deathworlder fleet moved through space like shadows in motion, cloaked and invisible, 100 warships drifted together in perfect formation, each one built not for beauty but for endurance, power, and survival. They were not elegant like alien cruisers. They were scars turned into steel. Forged by pain and persistence, Commander Rian Vale stood at the heart of his flagship, Iron Requiem. The screens flickered with long-range data, thousands of fragments forming a grim picture. The Corathan fleet's final stand. The recording showed ships breaking apart under heavy fire, entire colonies burning, and one final transmission. "Please, anyone, we are under attack." Aura 7's voice broke the silence. Enemy signature identified. Species unknown using hybrid technology. Energy readings beyond Council standard models. Ryan studied the display. "So someone evolved while we slept," he murmured. His tone carried neither fear nor anger, only a quiet determination that made his officers straighten unconsciously. Across the bridge, Lieutenant Kara Jin monitored tactical feeds. "Commander, we're detecting faint survivors. Life signs scattered across wrecks, they're barely holding on." Rian's expression hardened. "Prepare rescue pods, bring them aboard." Within minutes, sleek black drones launched from the fleet, silent as ghosts. They weaved through burning debris and radiation storms, cutting open Corathan escape pods, pulling survivors into the cold embrace of the Deathworlder ships. When the first alien opened his eyes inside the medbay, he froze. His body trembled as he looked at the human faces around him. Pale, cold, eyes glowing faintly under blue emergency lights. "You're humans," the alien gasped, disbelief choking his words. "Impossible. You were extinct." Rian stepped closer, his armor still faintly steaming from stasis. "We were forgotten," he said simply. "Not extinct." The Corathan survivor stared, speechless. "You heard our call?" "Yes," Ryan replied. "And we answer it." A hush fell over the med bay. For the first time in centuries, a living alien looked upon a Deathworlder and saw not legend, but reality. Meanwhile, in the distant reaches of space, the enemy fleet adjusted its course. Their scanners picked up something strange. Distortions in space. Signals that didn't match any known pattern. The commander of the enemy armada, a reptilian creature named Vrathak, hissed in confusion, "What is this interference?" His technician hesitated. "It's unknown, sir. The readings look ancient, Terran-style encryption." Vrathak laughed sharply. "Terran? You mean those myth creatures from the Deathworld? Impossible. Their kind died long before our empire was born, and yet..." As he laughed, the stars outside flickered one by one. Points of light vanished, swallowed by something massive. Cloaked, approaching fast. Then the first Deathworlder ship decloaked. The Iron Requiem emerged from darkness like a mountain of shadow. Its hull black as space, its engines burning blue, its weapons lined like the teeth of a beast long thought dead. A low hum vibrated through the enemy ships, the kind of sound that carried instinctual fear. "Contact," Kara whispered. "Enemy fleet in range." Rian Vale's voice was calm. "Broadcast open channel." Aura 7 transmitted across frequencies, and for the first time in centuries, humanity spoke to the galaxy again. "This is Commander Rian Vale of the Earth Defense Fleet." His voice thundered across comms. "You attacked our allies. You sent a cry into the void, we heard it. Silence." Then 1,000 alien screens flickered with his image. A human in black armor. Eyes cold, face calm. The kind of calm that came only from those who had already survived the end. "You will leave this sector," Ryan continued. "You will withdraw your fleets, or we will remind the galaxy why they named our world a death world." Vrathak hissed with fury. "Bluff, ancient ghost, your kind belongs to history," he roared. "Fire everything." The enemy armada unleashed chaos, beams of light, plasma storms, missiles like swarms of fireflies. But when the light cleared, the Deathworlders still stood. Shields held, armor gleamed, weapons charged silently. Ryan raised one hand. "Return fire," Aura 7 responded with perfect precision. Engaging. The night of space exploded. Human warships struck back like thunder from forgotten gods. Kinetic rounds tore through shields. Pulse cannons vaporized entire cruisers, and within minutes, the battlefield became a burning graveyard. Vrathak's command ship shook violently. "Who are they?" he screamed. "No one can withstand that firepower." From the Iron Requiem, Ryan watched the chaos. "They should have remembered," he whispered. "Deathworlders don't start wars, but we end them." In the background, the rescued Corathan stared at the screens, unable to speak. His tears fell quietly as he realized the impossible. The monsters from legend had saved them. As the smoke cleared, the Deathworlder fleet stood alone among wreckage. Silent once again, their victory was absolute. But their return had just begun, because far away across countless systems, the Galactic Council had received a new transmission. It was short, calm, and terrifying. This is the Deathworlder command. Humanity has returned, and every empire that had once mocked the legend of Earth fell into fearful silence. The Council's fear across the core worlds of the Galactic Union, silence reigned. The vast floating cities that once hummed with politics and trade now trembled under the shadow of a single transmission. Every communication network, every encrypted relay, every council beacon repeated the same message. Over and over again, this is the Deathworlder command. Humanity has returned. Those 6 words spread through the stars like wildfire. Each empire, from the insectoid hives of Nekra to the crystalline scholars of Varthun, reacted with disbelief and dread. The Deathworlders, the extinct monsters of old wars, were alive, and they had just destroyed an entire enemy fleet in less than 12 minutes. Inside the council hall of Etherion Prime, hundreds of alien delegates filled the great chamber. The air shimmered with tension, holograms flickering as ambassadors shouted over one another. "They cannot be allowed to exist again," one shrieked, its scaled arms trembling. "You know what they did last time? They will bring the galaxy to ruin." Another slammed a clawed hand on the table. "Fool, they saved the Corathans. That was an act of defense." "Defense?" A reptilian warlord barked. "You call annihilating an entire fleet defense? That was extermination, high above the chaos." The Supreme Chancellor, a being made of living light, rose slowly from his podium. Silence. His voice echoed like thunder through the hall. "The matter of the Deathworlders will be discussed with reason. Not fear, but fear was already winning." A massive hollow screen flickered to life in the center of the chamber, showing the footage from Valoran Station. The moment the human fleet appeared, the sound of their cannons, the cold voice of Commander Ryan Vale. "We do not start wars. We end them." Whispers filled the air. How could they survive for 2 centuries? What technology do they possess? Why now? The Chancellor turned to Admiral Turak of the Council Defense Fleet. "What is our military assessment?" Turak bowed slightly, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Their weaponry is far beyond ours. Their ships use hybrid energy cores. Old human design, but refined. Their armor resists both plasma and ion discharges. We estimate a single Deathworlder cruiser could overpower 3 of our heavy battleships." A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. "And their numbers?" the Chancellor asked. "Unknown," Turak replied. "But if their signal is accurate, they possess at least 1 full fleet. Possibly more." The chamber erupted again. "We must strike now before they expand. We must send peace envoys. No. We must hide our colonies among the chaos." One delegate, an aged scholar from the Varthun Collective, spoke quietly. "You fear them because you do not understand them." Everyone turned toward him. His crystalline body glowed faintly. "In our archives there is a record, a transmission left from the final days of the human war. It said, 'If one day we sleep and the stars forget our name, remember this, we do not awaken for conquest, only for a promise.'" The hall fell silent. The Chancellor's form flickered uneasily. "A promise?" he asked. The scholar nodded. The humans swore to answer any allied distress call. No matter how far or how long it took, it seems, my friends, they have simply kept their word. For a long moment no one spoke. The truth cut deeper than fear. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as protectors who never broke a vow, yet not everyone believed in mercy. On the shadowed edges of the council hall, a group of cloaked figures watched. Members of the Dominion Syndicate, the secret alliance of empires that once orchestrated the Great Purge. "They were supposed to be gone," one hissed softly. "We made sure of it. Then we will finish what our ancestors started," another replied. "Before their wrath consumes us all." Back aboard the Iron Requiem, Commander Ryan Vale stood at the observation deck. Staring into the sea of stars, Aura 7 hovered nearby, projecting faint data streams. "Galactic Council response detected," Aura reported. "Multiple factions debating your existence. No unified decision yet," Ryan smirked faintly. "Predictable," he murmured. "They fear what they cannot control." Karajin approached quietly. Commander, the Corinthian survivors wish to speak with you. Ryan nodded. Bring them in. A group of Corinthians entered. Still fragile from recovery, their leader, a graying veteran named Sarathun, bowed deeply. You saved what little remains of my people, he said softly. The galaxy owes you gratitude, but they will only repay you with fear. Ryan's expression didn't change. We expected nothing less, he said. Fear is the galaxy's oldest reflex. Sarathun looked up, his voice trembling. What will you do now? Ryan turned toward the stars, his reflection flickering against the glass. We will do what we were created to do, he said quietly. Protect those who cannot protect themselves, and remind the galaxy what happens when they prey on the weak, Aura's voice hummed. Incoming transmission. Encrypted unregistered source, Ryan frowned. Play it. Static filled the air, followed by a deep voice, old and broken. Commander Vale, if you can hear this, they are coming for you. The Syndicate remembers. Ryan's jaw tightened. His eyes burned with cold fire. Then let them come, he said. We've been asleep too long. Outside the viewport, hundreds of Deathworlder ships began to realign into new formations. Engines burned brighter. Black hulls gleamed against starlight. The galaxy was preparing for peace, but humanity was preparing for war. The Syndicate's shadow in the dark heart of the galaxy. Far beyond the reach of any official star map, there existed a place no light dared to touch. A cluster of fractured moons orbiting a dead sun. It was here, inside the colossal fortress known as Oblivion Reach, that the Dominion Syndicate gathered. A council of those who had once orchestrated humanity's fall. Their ships were blacker than void, their symbols erased from all archives. They ruled through secrecy and fear, whispering across centuries, unseen but always listening inside the fortress. The Syndicate's High Council sat in a chamber shaped like a vast circle of firelight and shadow. 13 figures cloaked in darkness, 13 empires bound by one old sin, the extermination of the Deathworlders. A tall reptilian warlord, Vrathak's superior, slammed a clawed hand against the metal table. Our fleets burn, our colonies fall silent. And you tell me these ghosts are real? An insectoid emissary hissed. The footage does not lie. Their ships bear the Terran mark. Their weapons defy physics. They have returned, another voice, old and metallic, rasped from a breathing mask. They should have rotted in their tombs at the center of the chamber. The Syndicate's prime director spoke softly, his voice smooth as oil. Gentlemen, ladies, the Deathworlders' reemergence threatens everything we built. They cannot be allowed to rally the weak and broken under their banner. If the galaxy remembers what humanity once was, a symbol of endurance, we will lose control. He turned toward the holomap showing the glowing traces of the Iron Requiem and its fleet. We strike first, strike? Hissed the insectoid. You saw what they did to Vrathak's armada. They turned 1,000 ships into dust. The director's eyes glimmered from beneath his hood. Then we will not fight them with ships. We will fight them with their own past. Back aboard the Iron Requiem, Commander Ryan Vale stood alone in the war room, staring at ancient logs flickering across the holotable. Names, dates, coordinates, all fragments from the day humanity vanished. Aura 7 projected an image of a planet, its surface scorched and lifeless. Archive fragment located. Sir, designation Earth. Ryan's breath caught. For the first time since awakening, he saw his home world, silent and dead. Show me everything, he whispered. The projection shifted, showing old recordings, cities burning, fleets falling from the sky, alien weapons tearing through human defenses. And amid the chaos, a final transmission echoed, a woman's voice trembling. If they find this, know that we did not surrender. We sealed what must never awaken, even if it means our extinction. Ryan stared at the flickering image. Sealed what? Before Aura could answer, alarms blared through the ship. Unauthorized signal detected. Deep infiltration attempt through encrypted relay. Source? Ryan barked. Aura's voice deepened. Oblivion Reach. Karajin appeared beside him, eyes wide. The Syndicate? Ryan nodded slowly. They're trying to finish what they started outside the ship. The black stars pulsed with hidden movement. Dozens of cloaked enemy ships emerged, their hulls glowing with dark energy. The Syndicate had deployed a weapon long forbidden, echo bombs, devices designed not to destroy matter but to erase it completely, rewriting atomic structures into nothingness. Defensive grid active. Kara shouted. But if one of those detonates near us, I know, Ryan said calmly. Ready counterstrike, the first echo bomb detonated. A wave of distortion rippled across space, bending light and silence alike. The Iron Requiem shuddered violently, but held. Shields flickered blue, then stabilized. Aura's voice thundered. Counterfire authorized, execute, Ryan ordered. From the Deathworlder fleet, energy lances brighter than stars erupted. Every shot moved with precision, every impact a statement of wrath restrained for centuries. Syndicate ships exploded one after another, their stealth fields tearing apart like paper in a storm. But amid the battle, one Syndicate vessel slipped through the chaos and transmitted a final payload. Aura's sensors screamed, "Intrusion detected, deep data injection." What kind of data? Kara asked coordinates. Aura replied grimly, "Earth's vault." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "They're going after the vault." "The vault?" Kara echoed, "What's inside?" Ryan's voice lowered, heavy with something darker than fear. Not a weapon, not technology, something far worse, and our memory. He turned toward the stars. If they reach Earth, they'll uncover the truth of what ended humanity, and the secret that should never return. Outside, the last Syndicate ship exploded into fragments. But the damage was done. A silent signal pulsed through space, traveling faster than light, heading toward a world thought dead. Earth was calling again, but this time, it wasn't a cry for help, it was a warning. The forgotten vault, the stars around Erebos 9, dimmed as the Iron Requiem prepared for jump. The fleet's engines glowed with a cold blue fire that rippled through the void. Carrying the low thunder of awakening power, Commander Rian Vale stood at the helm, staring at the data stream cascading before him. Every pulse of light on the holomap represented danger, betrayal, and something even deeper in memory. "Set coordinates," he ordered quietly. "Destination, Sol system." For a moment, the bridge went still. The word Sol hung heavy in the air. It was the name few dared to speak. A graveyard of legends and ghosts. Karajan's voice broke the silence, soft but firm. "After all these centuries, are we really going back?" Ryan's gaze didn't waver. "If the Syndicate found Earth's vault, then we have no choice," he said. "What lies buried there could end more than just our kind." Aura 7's holographic form flickered beside them, its blue light shifting with unease. "Accessing archive directives," it said. "Project Last Dawn, classified command seal by Admiral Sarah Vale." Ryan froze, the name stabbing through the armor of his composure. "Sarah Vale," he murmured. "My mother." Aura continued. "Directive states if humanity falls, secure the vault, prevent activation at all costs. The vault contains the Echo Seed." Kara frowned. "What's the Echo Seed?" Ryan exhaled slowly, his eyes distant. "A weapon of thought, not matter. It was our last creation before the wars ended. A device that could mirror consciousness across reality. Turn ideas into energy. It could rebuild worlds. Or erase them." Kara's voice trembled. "And you think the Syndicate wants to use it?" "They don't just want it," Ryan said grimly. "They want to rewrite history itself." When the Deathworlder fleet exited warp, they emerged into a graveyard of planets. The Sol system was nothing like the records. Jupiter was half collapsed, Mars stripped to its core. And Earth, once blue and full of life, was a husk of gray ash. "Scan the surface," Rian commanded. "Detecting deep-buried structures under the crust," Aura responded. "Power reading stable. Vault integrity, 91%, however. Another signal is already present." The holomap zoomed in, showing crimson dots forming a perfect circle around Earth's orbit. "Syndicate ships, hundreds of them." "They got here first," Kara whispered. "Then we take it back," Ryan said coldly. The fleet divided into attack formations, silent as shadows cutting through the dark. The Iron Requiem descended into low orbit, while stealth fighters darted through the Syndicate blockade, their engines flickering like ghosts. Down below on Earth's surface, the Syndicate excavation drones had already breached the vault's outer gate. The air shimmered with energy, black lightning crawling across the sand. The Prime Director stood at the entrance, his hood drawn, his mechanical hand pressed against the ancient Terran seal. "At last," he whispered. "The power that birthed the Deathworlders and now ours to command." The seal cracked open, releasing a blast of light that tore through the ground. Inside, walls of silver metal spiraled down into an abyss, each surface engraved with human words: "Endure. Remember, never bow." But the deeper the Syndicate descended, The stranger the world became. The walls pulsed faintly, as if the planet itself had veins, and every pulse whispered a heartbeat. Not dead. Not silent, only waiting, back in orbit. The iron requiem shook violently, alarms blaring. Energy spike detected beneath the surface, Aura warned. The vault is reacting to intrusion. Ryan's expression hardened. They woke it. Should we fire? Kara asked. Not yet, Ryan said. We don't know what happens if we damage it. The fleet circled Earth like black angels, the last guardians of a forgotten world down below. The Syndicate soldiers pressed deeper into the vault until they reached a massive chamber at its core. At the center stood a crystalline structure floating above a platform of light, the Echo Seed. It pulsed gently, each pulse echoing through their minds like a whisper of memory. The Prime Director stepped forward. Raising a control sphere, begin extraction, he ordered. The moment his hand touched the energy field, the light exploded. A wave of sound, ancient and human, filled the chamber. Not a scream, not a warning, but a voice, not a calm and resolute. This is Earth, last bastion of humanity. If you have come in peace, remember our code. If you come in conquest, remember our wrath. The entire facility shook as human holograms flickered into existence. Faces of soldiers, engineers, children, echoes preserved in data. The director stumbled back, shouting, "Shut it down!" But it was too late. From orbit, Ryan watched the blue glow spreading beneath the crust. Aura, what's happening? Earth is awakening, Aura replied, its tone almost reverent. The vault recognizes human DNA in orbit. It's responding to your command signature. The blue light surged into the sky, wrapping the entire planet in a shimmering field. Syndicate ships caught in its glow began to disintegrate, their hulls unraveling into dust. The Prime Director screamed as his body dissolved into light, his last words lost beneath the rising hum of power. Kara shielded her eyes. Commander, it's rewriting space. Ryan stared down at his homeworld, his voice low, almost whispering. No, Kara. It's remembering. The light burst outward, flooding the system, and for a moment, the stars seemed to blink when the glare faded. The Syndicate fleet was gone, the vault sealed once more. And Earth, and for the first time in centuries, began to breathe. Oceans shimmered faintly, clouds gathered. Green light touched the surface like rebirth. Sir, Kara whispered, it's alive again. Ryan nodded slowly, a faint smile breaking the calm mask. Welcome back, Mother, he said, and across the galaxy, sensors flared as a new signal spread, strong, clear and undeniable. This is Earth Command. Humanity endures. The return of humanity, the universe held its breath. From the cold heart of the Sol system, a voice once thought extinct now echoed through every star lane, piercing the silence of 1,000 empires. This is Earth Command. Humanity endures. The signal carried no threat, no plea, only certainty. The kind that made even the most powerful civilizations pause and listen. On the bridge of the Iron Requiem, Commander Ryan Vale stood unmoving, watching the blue glow ripple across the surface of Earth. The planet once lost to dust now shimmered with oceans reborn, atmosphere restored, and power grids flickering back to life beneath the clouds. Aura 7's voice resonated softly beside him. Reactivation complete, planetary defense grid online, bioatmospheric systems restored, estimated population growth potential, 98% within 1 century. Kara Jin wiped a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. It's beautiful, she whispered. It's like she never died. Ryan's gaze softened. Earth never dies, he said quietly. She waits below in the newly awakened vault. The crystalline core of the Echo Seed pulsed gently, releasing beams of light into the stratosphere. Each beam carried fragments of ancient knowledge, blueprints, memories, history. Broadcasting to every surviving human ship across the galaxy, Aura projected the incoming data, signal distribution increasing. Every hidden outpost, every buried Deathworlder facility is responding. Fleet awakening protocols engaged. Ryan turned toward the stars, his voice steady. How many? Unknown, Aura replied. But preliminary count suggests hundreds, possibly thousands, of dormant fleets across multiple sectors. Kara exhaled slowly, realization dawning. We weren't the last, Ryan nodded. No, we were the first to wake. Across the galaxy, ancient systems flickered to life. On forgotten moons, buried bunkers opened, revealing human flags still unbroken by time. On derelict stations orbiting dying suns, soldiers in cryopods stirred, hearing a voice whisper through their dreams. Humanity endures. In the Council of Civilized Worlds, panic and awe collided. The hall that once roared with fear now sat in stunned silence. The holographic projection of Earth glowed before them, blue and alive. "They've restored their world," one ambassador whispered. "It's impossible." The Chancellor's voice trembled. "It's not impossible, it's inevitable. You cannot erase those who refuse to fade." Some delegates began to kneel, others fled the chamber. But one stood, the old Varthun scholar who had once spoken of humanity's promise. His crystalline hands trembled as he said, "The Deathworlders are not our doom. They are our reckoning." Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, the first human boots touched soil in centuries. Dust swirled in soft winds that carried the scent of rain. The soldiers of the Iron Requiem stepped out, their armor black but their eyes shining with something new. Hope. Karajin knelt, pressing her gloved hand into the ground. "It's warm," she said softly. "I can feel life under it." Ryan stood beside her, looking at the horizon where sunlight broke over the ruins of old cities, their metal bones now covered in green. "This was once our cradle and our grave," he said. "Now it's our beginning again." Aura's hologram appeared between them, flickering in the morning light. "Commander." "Long-range transmissions detected," it said. "Multiple fleets approaching, not syndicate, not hostile." "Mixed species signatures, show me," Rian said. The sky filled with streaks of light, ships descending in controlled patterns. Banners of different civilizations displayed on their hulls. They were the remnants of species humanity had once protected, guided and fought beside the Korathans, the Enkra, the Varthun, and dozens more. Sarathun, the Korethan survivor, stepped forward from one of the transports, his voice trembling. "We came not in fear, Commander, but in faith," he said. "You saved us, and the galaxy remembers. The Deathworlders have returned, not as destroyers, but as guardians for the first time in his long life." Ryan Vale smiled fully, not the cold smile of a warrior, but the quiet one of a man who had seen death and chosen life. "Then let the galaxy see what humanity truly is," he said. "Not legend, not myth, but promise, high above Earth." The united fleets formed a vast ring, thousands of ships from countless worlds orbiting the reborn planet. Humanity's black warships stood at the center, their engines glowing brighter than ever. Aura's voice filled every channel. "Transmission complete. Interstellar Unity signal deployed." Across the stars the word spread once more. "Ancient yet eternal, this is Earth Command. Humanity endures, humanity protects, humanity returns." The phrase became a vow carried through the void. Every being who heard it felt something they hadn't felt in centuries, and courage. Ryan watched the stars glitter across the viewport, his reflection fading into their light. "We were called monsters once," he said softly. "Maybe we were. But monsters can learn to build as well as destroy." Kara smiled faintly. "What now, Commander?" He looked down at Earth, the world that refused to die. "Now," he said, "now we rebuild not just our world, the galaxy." The fleet repositioned, their lights forming constellations above the blue planet, a symbol that would echo for generations. The return of the Deathworlders, the guardians of the stars, and somewhere, deep within the core of Earth, the echo seed pulsed one final time, its voice fading into the hum of creation. "We slept through extinction. We rose through silence. We are humanity, and we endure." The stars shimmered brighter, as if bowing in respect, and the galaxy, once ruled by fear, now whispered a new name with reverence: Deathworlders, the protectors of life.